It's time for Washington Shellfish Quest. This episode, razor clam digging with a clam gun. James Batstone. If you're a razor clam digger in Washington, you might want to know that name, because in 1957 he changed the game when he had his patent approved, if you can see this, for the clam gun. It was called a clam digging device. I believe that's what he said, literally a clam digging device. You know, it's a tube that creates suction. That kind of ended almost the dawn of the shovels, or at least made a division between the two. So this episode, I'm just going to focus in on how to use the clam gun, maybe a little more specifically than I did in my Razor Clam 101. I'm out of breath because I'm running down to the beach. Mariners just clinched a playoff berth for the first time in 21 years, so I had to finish watching the game. So I gotta get my clams quick, but that's easy to do when you're using a clam gun. Don't know if you can see it there, kind of near the top of the light, but that's a dimple of a razor clam show. So I'm going to try out my new Clam Cam. It's a knockoff GoPro strapped to my clam gun. Oh yeah, look at that technological marvel. Alright, let's try out this Clam Cam. It wasn't in that scoop. Oh, there he is. See him in the hole there? I'll just reach. I'll be lazy. Another scoop. Ugh. Hey, there we go. First clam of 2022-2023 season, and it's a beaut. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but these are the first tides of the year, and there are shows everywhere. Really happy I can make it out in the first 3 days after that short biotoxins closure. James Batson might have been the first, but he wasn't the last person to improve on the design of the clam gun. 5 years later, in 1963, a fellow by the name of John Puckett from Olympia, Washington, he added a different design. He made the kind of what I call the Model T. That's what I'm currently using. You can see here it's a T shape, so it has the long hollow handle. The original design by Mr. Batson was just, you know, more of what the tubes look like now, like a PVC tube, but made of metal back then, of course. Now remember, when you go down, you do have to take every clam that you dig, but you can readjust the gun if you hear it crunch. The clams are going to try to run towards the surf. Just remember, a clam would want to run towards water if you have a temporal member in that. But you can readjust the gun if you hear it crunch, because that's you hitting their shell, to make it more diagonal or more straight up and down to try to avoid that. And the last major improvement to the clam gun was in 1979. A fellow by the name of Walter Madison from Oregon. He added a secondary vent inside of a clam gun, inside of the tube, which allowed for easy pulling up. It kind of relieves the suction. You know, the clam guns that I use, they don't have that second vent. So that's if you see like a clam hog or guns like that, or they have a vent on the outside any of those guns, that's what that does, is it relieves the pressure of the suction because it has a secondary vent. So when you're pulling the clam up, it's better on your back. So that's kind of the story of the clam gun. Something that's really interesting, though, is the tube wasn't always called the gun. At least the way I hear it, is that the shovel used to be called the gun, and it was just kind of a joke. And then the tube, being kind of a little more gun-like, I guess, yeah, they started calling that the clam gun. People will dispute this, though. I guess it goes back and forth, the argument between which is the real gun. Obviously, that's the accepted vernacular now. They don't call them clam tubes anymore, they call them clam guns. So, there you go. Whew! Look at that dimple. That is quite a show. That's the dimple show for sure. Wow. Yeah, no crunch, so I keep going. Woo, another good-looking clam. Yeah. I think it's going to be a great year. So far, every clam I've dug is pretty nice. No real moss backs yet, but they're all very respectable size. So the basic concept of the tube is you simply put it over a clam show, and you know, you put it down. I usually kind of shake back and forth, you know, kind of swivel it back and forth to cut through the sand. And then when you think you got the clam, you put your finger over a vent hole, which can either be on the top of the tube or in the handle. It makes a suction, then you pull it right up. Hey, smallest one so far, but still not bad. It's too bad it's dark out because there is holes everywhere. I'd love to just do a pan of all the holes I'm seeing. Definitely get your limit in a very small area today. It's going to be a really good season. I'm at Twin Harbors too, which usually gets hit pretty good. I know I said this earlier in the video, but as a reminder, you gotta keep the first 15 you dig, regardless of size or condition. Let's check the core sample. Woo! That's my big one of the night. It's just about a moss back. That is a really nice razor clam. Well, I've only got one more clam to get. I wanted to thank my source for the show and to give credit where it's due. All that clam gun information came from the book Razor Clams. I believe it's a treasure of the coastal Washington. I got that wrong, but it's Razor Clams by David Berger. And there's the title if I messed any of it up off of memory. But a really good book if you want to know everything there is to know about Pacific Northwest razor clams. All right, there we go. Should be 15. Woohoo! All right. Oh, nice one too. Number 15. Well, there it is. First limit of the season, 15 easy clams, 20 minutes work. Wasn't even work. They were all pretty clustered up and nice size. So hope you can get out here in the 2022-2023 season if that's when you're watching it. If not, hope you can get out in the future. Thank you so much. See you next time on Washington Shellfish Quest.